convention this week? This week, or
No,
next week?
this week.
I'm leaving in the morning. I teach all week.
Okay, having gotten that one piece of business accomplished, technically two pieces of business accomplished, I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to start by acknowledging we're signatories to Treaty 5 and we reside on the traditional territory of in such a way as Cree Nation, and we are all treaty people. To move on to approval of the agenda. Trustee Oliveira, Trustee Lychuk, any additions?
Do you want to put something about this painting on the agenda? Do you want to put it under 5.2 or, not 5.2, 9.1? Under new business or something, Don?
Sure.
New business, 9.1?
Sure, new business 9.1,
Recognition.
gift we received on behalf of the district.
Yeah. I'll show it to everybody later.
Anything else?
Is it,
Oh,
We got to add a
right.
second.
Okay. So we have an additional delegation from support.
SOS group.
Yes,
Students
come on,
offering
it means
support.
something.
Yeah, students offering
Support something students. What's the
Students
O?
offering support. Students offering support.
Students offering support, there we go. No, I knew it was SOS. I've always known it was SOS. I never actually spelled it out. So can I have a mover and a seconder to add that to the agenda?
5.2.
Trustee Land, Trustee Lychuk, is everyone, anything else?
If your original mover and seconder are okay with the changes.
Are you? We're good. Everyone in favor?
Of the new agenda as amended?
As amended, passed.
Passed.
We have adoption of minutes from previous meetings. We have several. One are meeting minutes from our, this is our regular board meeting on the 27th, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you going to move these all separately, Don, I guess? Or
I think they have to be moved separately.
I think they need to be.
So I'll move that.
Trustee Land. Trustee Brady. Any omissions? All those in favor? Passed. Committee of the Whole meeting on February the 6th.
I'll move that.
Trustee Brady. Trustee Tucker.
I'm getting,
Any comments? All those in favor? Passed. Committee of the Whole, February 20th.
I move those.
Trustee Brady, Trustee Fitzpatrick. All those in favor? No?
So on the minutes, it says that we went in camera, then it lists what our discussion was, and then it says we came out of camera. I mean, it just says that we had a budget update, but should it be saying what we were discussing if it was supposed to be in camera? Should we just, no, it should. That was my only. Because it says it before we came out of camera instead of
Oh, good point.
after coming out of camera was a discussion. That's, we can't have that.
We must change that.
Have to amend that.
So
Yeah,
approve the
nobody can
minutes
find
as
out.
amended?
No one must know.
Well, it's not so much an issue what it says, it's just the way that it says
The
it.
formatting of it too.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do with all the witnesses.
Yeah, do you want to amend that or make a correction? We'll have to correct it.
Are you okay with that?
Mhm.
So friendly move, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Passed. Moving on to delegations. First, we have Mr. Caldwell and his students presenting on the F1 project.
Yes, thank you for having us. Before I turn it over to kids, I just want to go over some of the numbers and where we're at. I'm kind of the lead. Oh, I will tell you what F1 is. So F1 in schools is it's a STEM program, science, technology, engineering, math. And it actually used to run in Canada a number of years ago. I had the privilege of taking Don's son, Jason, to a tournament or two in Winnipeg. And over the years, it's kind of lost its foothold in Canada, and it's now kind of huge in the States and actually all over the world. And what it is students get together, they form a team similar to a race team, and they design a small little F1 car on on the computer, it's manufactured, milled on a CNC, and then they go down and they compete. So they get points for speed of the car, but they get points for marketing, sponsorship. It's a, kind of all encompasses a whole vat of I guess, I don't know, subjects, so website and all that. So we had the privilege to be invited to the U.S. National Championships. So we could have went to a regional competition, but the last regional competition is actually this weekend in Montana, and there was 3 or 4 others earlier in the year. We wouldn't have been able to financially be able to go or get approval, but we did get approval from you to go to Texas, and the dates have been set. It's June 13th to the 16th, so it is later in the year, and it's giving us a lot of time to prepare and be competitive when we go there. So I'm just going to hand out, I made 7 packages of these really quickly, and just kind of, you can kind of see where we're at with some of the numbers. Yeah. And the flights are booked, and so they are booked and paid for, so that's a good thing. You'll have to excuse the spelling mistakes. There is one spelling mistake. I was in a super hurry. I threw this together last minute. So tentative itinerary, which is spelled wrong, I apologize. We're going to hopefully leave here Tuesday. I'm not sure what time of day, June 12th, get down to Winnipeg. We fly out Wednesday morning. The competition, it says it starts on the Wednesday, but that is the day where you actually hand in your portfolios. You can drop off all your backboard, your pit display, hand everything in, your cars, you submit, and you have till 6 o'clock that day. So we're arriving at 1:15, so that'll give us lots of time to get in and get that handed in it's at the Circuit of the Americas. So if you're not sure what that is, that's the only F1 track in all of America. It's out of Austin, Texas. It's about 10 miles out of Austin, Texas, I believe. And they ran it there the last couple of years. They actually had a World Championships there in 2013. So then Thursday, Friday, Saturday is competition days. It's long days for the kids. They start at 7 in the morning and they go till approximately 4:30. I've attached the last couple pages. I attached just a very skeleton itinerary from last year's championships they had there, and it kind of goes through. There's all sorts of presentations from universities throughout the U.S. And then there's actually another competition going on as well. It's called a 4x4. I'm not too familiar with it, but it is another competition. They actually run 2 competitions at the same time. Right now, financially, we are sitting at a current balance of $5,282 with a second student payment of $250. So each of the students that are going are contributing a $500 payment in 2 $250 disbursements. Okay, and that's going to help offset some of the costs of traveling, and to basically say, okay, you're invested in this, so let's put the time in. And we've actually been meeting for since October, and it's been the hours are adding up. So I'll move on really quickly. So that puts us at $6,532 with expected expenditures of roughly $9,000. So that's leaving us right now with a shortage of about $2,200 to $2,500. So we're going to fundraise over the next 3 months, and hopefully get some more sponsorship from some businesses in town. I'll let the kids talk to you about who they've been dealing with businesses. There are some really good businesses that have helped in town. SCML as well has been super great to us. There is a breakdown of the financials on the next page that kind of shows you where we're at. But I just want to say I appreciate you allowing us to take the team, or allowing me to take the team down to the U.S. The female chaperone is Miss Darlene Tistos. She's the owner of the hub, or one of the owners of the hub. She can't be here tonight. It should be said, Mr. Gary Adams has been a huge help. He's been at almost every meeting and helping out in other meetings. He's not going to go on the trip with us just because of the timing and with his classes. So we do have 2 chaperones and 5 students going, okay? Thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to the team now and let the fun begin. So.
So I'll start by introducing myself. I'm Ashutosh Agarwal. I'm the team manager for the Spirit Bulls.
I'm Forrest Titos. I am our manufacturing engineer and sponsorship representative.
I'm Madison Caldwell and I do all the marketing stuff.
I'm Miles Stilley and I'm the design engineer.
So as you've heard from Mr. Codwell, we're an F1 in schools team. We're building small, also race cars and racing them on a track. We are here to talk to you guys about the project itself. So would you like to take it away with the design?
Okay. These cars are designed on a computer using a software called CATIA or any other engineering CAM softwares like Autodesk and what was the other one? No, just CATIA. They design these cars on the computer and then they transfer these files into the CNC machines where they then machine them out of the wood, paint them, add the wheels, then they race them down the tracks. Approximately 90 kilometers per hour.
So some of the cars we made, this was one of them. We were experimenting with like the 3D printer as well, but unfortunately it was destroyed. Yeah, because when you race them, you have to have a brake.
A braking system like
braking
foam
system,
or
yeah. And it's
catalyst.
foam and stuff like that. And when we raced this one, we didn't have one, and it jumped up and crashed, and the whole front of it broke off, and the wing in the back is destroyed.
So now I'd like to bring your attention to these screens where we have our website laid up.
Here we have our official brand new website. We just published this in December. It is showcasing who our team, where we're from. This is just a bit about our team. We're a team from participating in a downshift in the STEM F1 in Schools competition in May of June 2018. It's being held at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, which you've already been told by Dave Caldwell. And what is F1 in Schools? It's a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-based competition where students ages 11 to 19 form a team consisting of 3 to 6 members to design, engineer, and manufacture a mini F1 race car. The technology competition is the largest technology competition in secondary schools around the world, ranging in 40 different countries, 17,000 secondary schools. The program originated from Australia, and now it's based in the UK. The cars go approximately 70 to 90 kilometers an hour, and they will complete a 24-meter track in about 0.9 seconds. Ash?
So this is our proposed route down to Austin, Texas. So we'll drive from Thompson to Winnipeg. Then we'll take a connecting flight from Winnipeg to Minneapolis, where we'll have a layover. And then from there, we'll travel to Austin, Texas, where we will compete.
We've been experimenting with certain car designs with CNC machines and 3D printing the front and rear wings. We're now looking at even 3D printing wheels. The car that you have right now, the rear wing for that is 3D printed out of ABS plastic. We have multiple videos, all the 3D printing and CNC machining. This is a time-lapse video. They take about 1-2 hours to machine these. Yeah.
Yes, we do. So basically what that's doing is it's taking a standardized block like this, and it's CNCing it into the shape that we've made on CATIA.
Our new wheels that we made, we're using this special high-strength engineering plastic. It's called Acetron GMP. And it's a high-strength plastic used in many things from certain things in vehicles, consumer electronics, even drones and sometimes aircrafts, certain components.
Along with that, we also have bearings. So these are what will be on the inside of our car and will allow it to drive smoothly.
We have some more videos of creating all our new prototypes. Very tedious process with the 3D printing.
So this is currently our wings, as you saw, being 3D printed on the printer. So this is one of the races that we did at RD Parker. So this is the slow motion one of it.
Actually, those bearings are $70 a piece. We had to.
A small 8-gram
So
cartridge.
powering our marvelous cars is a tiny CO2 cartridge, like ones you use for sodas.
I'm just gonna replay the video. Mm-hmm. Okay, we even put a camera, a GoPro on a couple cars and tried racing them down the track so we could kind of have a first-person view what it looks like to be on this track. They are held onto the track by a small piece of fishing line. Otherwise, they'd go flying and you didn't hit someone in the face.
Oh, that's why that eye bolt's on the bottom.
Yeah.
So along with these bearings, we also are going to mill aluminum rods and use those as the axles for the car. Bring up the sponsors page. Sponsors page. Bring up the sponsors page, buddy.
Oops.
So now I'll leave it to our sponsors representative to talk about our sponsors.
So these are our sponsors. We're very thankful to have them because they've been a really big help with funding and everything to get us on the go, to be able to go on this amazing trip that we're going on. So we have the Hub of the North, the school district, Speedy Glass, Twin Motors, and Don McDonald, the Clark's Pharmacy, Smokes Contracting, MDS Aerotest. They have been a really big help because we've been able to go talk to them for our engineering crew about how to make our car faster and better than everyone else's.
Bring up social media pages.
Oh, and Boca Bearings.
So along with being both in real life, we are also heavily online. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please do follow us. we do post on that.
So when
At
you're
least
gone,
once a
will you
month.
posting?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will.
Are you spirit rolls?
Yeah.
Yes.
And our videos that we posted to be able to have them on the website, we also had to use a Vimeo account because YouTube was not functioning properly.
So along with these, we had a challenge running through the schools about our logos. So we had a nice large logo competition running throughout the entire school district about it, which we will be using for our cars solely. Our main one is the one you see on the screens, which we got through Vistaprint. Maddie and Fotis are handing out pens and 3D printed magnets that we made. Yeah, Mr. Caldwell made them for us. So that is our front wing. So that is the front part of the racer. We 3D printed that as well.
Are there any questions for any of us? Okay.
I'm just wondering how much is one car worth?
All said and done.
I can answer that if you like. So the generic basic balsa wood kits are about $14 that we can order out of Ontario. For this competition, you actually have to use a composite block, and we actually ordered these out of the UK. So these ones are, the blocks themselves run about $20, about $20. These wheels you can buy for very, very cheap, and it's just an aluminum little rod that goes through. Unfortunately, with these, it slows the car down because the axles turn, right? So the whole idea is to get it as fast as you can make it. So that's why the kids ordered those bearings that you've seen going around. So the whole idea is to have a stationary axle and have just the bearings there. So those bearings were $70 each. So these cars can be upwards of maybe $400 or $500, and depending on the paint job. We're hoping that our sponsor, Twin Motors, will help paint the cars. Much like when I took Jason down years back, we had Ford actually painted those cars, and they turned out really well. So they can get pretty elaborate, that's for sure.
Is there any other questions?
How are you rolling the wheels?
We're using one of our CNC machines, and to make them perfectly circular and the correct regulation diameters, we're also refining them on a lathe.
Oh.
Trustee Tucker.
Those little air cartridges, how much are they?
About
CO2.
6 cents.
And so how do you get them to like blow up?
So in the track itself, near the start, we have a trigger. When there's two versions to it. There's automatic and manual. Automatic, it will automatically pierce it through a small pin. Manual, you press the button and then it does so. So when we're setting up the tracks, we line it up so that the ends of the CO2 cartridge meet with the pin. So that when we are ready to fire, it will puncture it.
They're these spring-loaded pods about this size. All connected through one main connection.
Are fun. So they could be used actually for a lot of different things.
Are you able to fly with her as well as you cartridges?
If they weren't kind of on the track yet.
Anyone else? Any?
This is just fantastic. I'm so excited. I would love to make a donation.
Are you the only Canadian team in the competition?
In the competition that we're going through, we are the only Canadian team at this point.
There's also a team out of BC that is competing in the regional in Montana this year. We recently helped them out by milling their cars for
Oh, man, what if they beat you now?
Never help anyone.
You have to pay it forward. We're both
What about values?
It's our motto.
I don't know, it doesn't say that up here. Doesn't say that up there. Values, look at the values, humility, empathy.
Any other questions?
No, I just think it's fantastic. Fantastic.
Well, we thank you for your time and your money, although if you would be so kind, we'd love a little more of it.
That's marketing.
Have fun.
Have fun and good luck.
Show them what we're made of up here.
That's right.
Yeah. So I had the chance to go to one of the competitions when it was at the U of M, and you're going to have, I suspect the one you're going to is going to be wild. So enjoy it. I think it's going to be wonderful.
So much fun, Don.
Right. I only had one job to do and I forgot to do it.
Any bit helps. Did they tell you guys where Jason works now? After serving? I haven't researched him. Some cool things are out there.
Who works for what?
Spin Master.
What is that?
They make Hatchimals. They make all kinds of things you've never heard of.
What's that?
They make toys.
Oh. I'm too old for toys.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Good
Good luck. You got all your stuff back? Sandra's got. We're not touching it.
When he did his fourth year project, he 3D printed a ski boot with an integral knee brace. So $2,500 worth of 3D printing if you pay cash.
That's insane, eh?
Oh yeah, but just wild what it looked like.
For sure, eh?
What a great presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. That was really cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
And now first,
I'm gonna follow them on Facebook right now.
now for our second presentation tonight, students offering support.
So hi, I'm Julie Jenkins. I've been a member of SOS for 3 years and I'm currently in grade 12.
My name is Lala and I'm in grade 11 and I've been a member of SOS since grade 9.
I'm Rachel. I'm in grade 11. I've been in SOS since grade 10.
My name's Kayla Belton. I'm in grade 9 and this is my first year of SOS.
I'm Rishwan and I have also been a member of SOS since grade 9. Yeah.
Just hit cancel. Let us out. And do you want to go to your slideshow? So go up there.
I think it's free.
Frozen?
Yeah, it froze.
That was those F1 people.
Look at that. They're doing fundraising. You're right, it is. Will it let you go through this way? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just get out of there. Hello? Can you see it? We can see it, but we can't see it on this.
Yeah. Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah, that
The
is.
screen is different than that screen.
You have it in presenting.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think you're going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just do this. Okay.
So we're SOS, and the SOS stands for Students Offering Support. We're a student-led group at RD Parker, and the main purpose of our group is to promote mental health and raise awareness about mental health. And at RD Parker, SOS takes part in events such as the Defeat Depression Walk, which happens every year, the annual Hope North Suicide Prevention Conference, and Mental Health Awareness Week. But as SOS, we lead our own event at RD Parker, and it's called Lights of Hope. So each year during December, we get all of our 1,000 students to write nice comments about each other in every single grade. And then the counselors take all that information, consolidate it, and they make this little card with all the nice comments someone said about another person. And then right before break, we hand out these little boxes with like the little notes. So those little notes give people a sense of belonging. And and then we hand them out those little boxes right before break. And that's something we do at RD Parker.
So for those of you who may not be aware, there was a mass school shooting in Parkland, Florida on February 14th. As a result of this tragedy, the youth from the United States have created a movement across the country to urge legislation to change their gun laws. They are demanding that their lives and safety become a priority and to end gun violence and mass shootings in their school.
Okay, so as Canadians, we always hear about American legislation about gun laws on the news. So we decided to research our own gun laws, and we found that the AR-15 that the teenager used at Parkland is illegal in Canada, fortunately. And he also used bump stocks, and bump stocks make a semi-automatic rifle automatic, and those are also illegal in Canada. We're also fortunate for that. And in Canada, it's legal to buy a gun at the age of 18, but we're only allowed to use guns for hunting and at gun ranges, whereas in the States, you can walk around with a gun, you can drive around with a gun in your car. So that's some of the information we found because we want to take this as seriously as possible.
So since then, the students of the school, such as Emma Gonzalez, have stood up to raise awareness against gun control. This is just a quick video that we want to show you of Emma Gonzalez speaking.
To the NRA.
Okay, it's not working.
Hopefully it works.
Hello. Okay, I can't see.
Did you click on it?
I did. Look. It's not working. If you go escape, click on it. You can't see anything. Oh, you can't see anything? Yeah. Oh, that's bad. Mr. Fish. Wait.
Just see if you can drag it. Can you drag the whole screen over there?
I have
Can
no
you drag
whole
this
screen.
screen? Can you click there and drag it up to there so they can see it? Does it work if you do that? No?
No.
Okay. You're gonna have to just tell them what it's saying.
Okay, so basically in the video, Emma Gonzalez asks the NRA about their gun laws and where they stand and bump stocks and everything. And the NRA basically just dodges the question and doesn't answer a question. And Emma Gonzalez is a teen. She was she was at the school where the shooting happened, and now she's standing up because she's demanding better gun laws in the States and everything.
Okay, come on.
Yeah.
So in Washington, D.C., the students have decided to make a march called March for Our Lives. So on March 24th in Washington, D.C., they're all going to stand up and march to raise awareness about the changes they want to make in the gun legislation. So now many countries such as Colombia, Ireland, Japan, and now Canada have joined in to show their support. So we want to do our own march. We are doing our own march on March 24th.
We want to invite you guys to the march. If you guys want to volunteer, you can contact Trina or Krista at Artie Parker.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the reason we are joining the march is because we want to show support and we want to remember all the people who were lost and all the families who lost members and friends.
And one of the things that actually happened in the States was that before the shooting ever happened, the shooter, his name was Nicholas Cruz, people knew that he was a threat. He posted about shooting and guns and everything, and we just want to tell people, if you see something, say something, either to the person or a teacher or a counselor or a parent. Just say something to someone.
So we stand for the lives that were lost. School safety is a right, not a privilege, and that's what we want to show.
Students come to school because it's their safe haven, and we don't want them to feel unsafe in that environment.
And then when you come to school, you should feel a sense of belonging and a connection to something, and you shouldn't have to be afraid. We also want to express that youth voice has power. So that's what the students in Washington, D.C. and Parkland, Florida are doing, and what we are doing now. So thank you for listening. The march will begin in the front loop of Artie Parker Collegiate on March 24th, that's Saturday at noon. We will have student speakers expressing their support towards this cause, and then we will all go on a march together. So we're inviting you, your family, your friends to come join us and support all the lives that were lost in the Parkland shooting. Is there any questions? Yeah?
Do you want me to play the video?
Sorry, just a second. I just want to say that I'd love to volunteer and I will march with you. Both the Canadians to think that their kids can go to school, and that's the 18th shooting this year. This is for me. And yeah, and that your kids can go to school and never come back. And with the 18th shooting this year, it's a common occurrence. But the response, one of the responses is to arm teachers. And it's just like a ridiculous response. And I'm just so proud of the youth in the States who are standing up for them. And as I stand for them, but I'll certainly stand with you.
Thank you. I would also like to add that we are going to make a Facebook event, and we will be adding people, and if you're added to the group, we would like you to add people so that more people become aware of the march.
For sure.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I think there's a lot of momentum because what you see even from what Leslie just said, like a lot of the corporations have taken on the NRA and said, we're not going to sponsor you, we're not going to support you. That's never ever happened before. Nobody stands up to the NRA.
Yeah.
And now that seems to be happening with corporations and individuals and like Leslie. I've never been more proud of young people to see them night after night. Articulate, elegant speakers, eloquent speakers, just absolutely fantastic. So good luck next Saturday, I'll be there for sure.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say too that I'm a big supporter of SOS. I think you guys do great things because you also help us review the whole forum too. But I just want to say that so proud of the stance that you're taking because you could easily say that the problems over there and things like that don't happen here, but I think that we recognize it at any time in any place things can happen, and I think that if we want our schools to continue being safe, we need to raise awareness, and I really appreciate that you're raising that awareness here and standing for your fellow students, even if they are in another country. So I will definitely be there and I support you all the way.
Thank you.
Who did you say we can contact if we're going to one? Trina or
She's in the back.
Trina and Krista?
Oh, hi.
And it's Saturday at noon,
Saturday at noon, March 24th.
in front of the high school.
Yeah, the high school fest.
If you also just search a March for Our Lives, and then the first link, when you just click on there and you scroll down to the very bottom, you'll see a map. And when we registered, Haley registered us, and we're also on the map shown for Canada. And I think we're the
Other schools across the
It's
country.
happening
Yeah.
worldwide. so
I don't know if you
see
just want to
everyone
like
on the
flip
map.
it. Is that possible? Like just
it's
like
not shown on there. Well, like
March for Our Lives.
I don't know, there's a lot of flyers.
Yeah, it started off just in the States in Florida, but
Yeah, like you can, I don't know if you can see, but these are all the places, and this is us right there, that are supporting and having their own march. So in the Facebook event, I will put a link to it, and you can click and get right to that page.
Can you see if there was anyone else from Canada?
Yep, you can
There's
see
people in
all the
Children's
places that
Area.
have started marches. Is there anything else? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. Kind of left us a lot to live up to for the rest of the evening, hasn't it?
I'm thinking, yeah, let's just.
Just shut her down.
Let's just, we can't talk that.
Shut her down.
Yeah.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, we're done.
I'm waiting for this thing to make more sense. Okay. Next item on the agenda is business from a previous board meeting. We have a resolution. Did you want to read it, Trustee Ryan, or do you want me to? I've got it here. Okay, got a resolution from a previous meeting. Background is Section 55 of the Public Schools Act provides for the increase or decrease of the number of trustees. And the resolution was that the Board of Trustees consider reducing the number of trustee positions to 5 from the current number of 7. That motion was both moved and seconded. And at that meeting, it was tabled while it was referred to committee to consider further information. So it was referred to policy committee.
And the policy committee did review, there's 5 documents that review the rationale that was put forth by trustee Land, Ontario Trustee Determination Guide, email from Heather Dimitrioff at Manitoba School Boards Association, just referring to bylaws and how we would go about making a change and when those, how that would, what that process would look like. We looked at a trustee identity survey and a cost summary provided by our Secretary Treasurer, Kelly Knott. So those documents were looked at by the policy committee and discussed, and we found that it was actually of major importance that we share those documents and open it for discussion. So those documents have been shared with all trustees now, and we're at a place, I think, for discussion.
So we have a motion. It is being moved and seconded, and it is now open for discussion.
Is there a motion, or is it just a?
Yes.
On January 30th.
Yeah.
On January 30th, there was a motion, okay. I have a question. Is there a recommendation from the policy committee?
No,
No, just like all the information brought forward.
yeah.
Got it.
So I'm going with the idea that everyone has a chance to review these documents, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So open for discussion on the motion.
Yes, yeah, the reason for the motion initially was that, you know, as we were going through a process of making some, you know, relatively difficult but right decisions, I think in the long run, in terms of being fiscally responsible as a board, it just sort of occurred to me that many of those decisions were impacting others as opposed to us, and it was a good opportunity. I know we've had discussion previously about potentially reducing our own expenses, and this was one possibility. So when I started to do some research about it, it seemed plausible. And then in speaking with Heather Dimitrioff, it was also possible. And looking at the Public Schools Act as well, there was a process for it. I didn't really have an opinion one way or the other, and so tried to find it. Didn't really find research that said, you know, particular governance sizes work better or not specific to school boards. So it really became about looking at how that's determined in other jurisdictions. We don't have a lot of direction on it in Manitoba, so I looked at the Ontario document. And by their measures, any of the formula that they use, and they have very specific, explicit formula for determining the calculation that determines the number of trustees. By all of those calculations, it would give us 5. That's not to say we're the same as Ontario, we're a unique jurisdiction, and I think there's provision within that document where people can appeal if they have a compelling reason to have more. As we're not ward-based, that actually gave us more flexibility to do it rather than less, and my hunch was that 7 probably was harkened back to a ward-based system, and it's just been how it's been for a time. One of the main issues we identified, I think, through the discussions that we had was around the committee structure, that we have a lot of committee commitments. So that certainly would have to be a consideration going forward. If we move in that direction, we'd have to have our documents changed to reflect that. We'd probably have to look at something along the lines of a committee of the whole structure, something we've discussed previously as well. And in that, I also felt that, you know, where we've made decisions that impact librarians or department heads or all-day kindergarten, we haven't made that decision, but that's something that we're looking at going forward. Those are going to have challenges as well in terms of how they'll roll out. I just felt like it was about us doing our fair share. Requires bylaw, requires submission to the minister. We have time to do that. In the province of Manitoba, there's 3 school divisions that currently have 5. We didn't really get any feedback. I think it was Superintendent Bartlett that did a bit of calling around. I don't think we got any evidence either way. The trouble was that those with 5 didn't know anything else, so they didn't have a problem with what they were doing because they didn't have anything to compare it to. But we didn't have any information that said, oh, this is, because they would actually have the freedom to increase their numbers as well. Some school divisions are also considering reductions, and I think that document was circulated as well to the group, that there were varying degrees of school divisions considering or not considering that, and the reasons for that. Yeah, and I think some of the, you know, the rationales there more in depth in the attached document. I don't think I had anything else to add to that.
The Winnipeg Free Press has an article, I think, from yesterday. That was yesterday, I read it today. There's two, I believe, who are considering reducing trustees in the province. Again, due to budgetary constraints. My concern, I mean, it's always, you know, we have to look for ways to certainly save money. My concern with that is that, my concern would be quorum. And again, the committee as a whole, the entire structure would have to change, and those are some quite significant changes. It's not like we could just cut down to 5 trustees and then not change to a committee of the whole structure. So I never thought of that, so that the structural changes are quite big. And I have a bit of a concern about quorum, though I think 3 people can show up. And just that I think there's some ways that trustees can, or we can reduce the budget that the trustees consume. We're not large consumers, but I think we can reduce it a little bit through other ways that are being discussed at finance, through indemnities and travel budgets, and professional development, marketing. Those are my thoughts.
Trustee Fitzpatrick?
I would agree. I don't feel that fiscally it makes enough of a difference that I feel that this is perhaps the right move for us to reduce the number of trustees. In the monetary value of reducing 2 trustees, I thought would possibly be more than what it was. I mean, that number to me is not, does not make a huge difference, and I think that we could look at being more fiscally responsible, perhaps in other ways. I mean, I'm still on the fence about how I feel about it
either way, but I feel like there is perhaps ways that we could look at being more fiscally responsible in other ways as well, so.
Trustee Oliver?
I've sat around the table with, this would be, I guess, my third board now, and I've seen a lot of different faces around the table, and the whole time it's been 7. I guess my concern to going to 5 is, I guess some of the experience and the background that different people bring to the table with them. That would be part of it. And then when we talk about quorum, 3, that'd be easy to convince to other trustees that this is what we should be doing. And sometimes that's not a good thing, maybe a bit more conversation. And yes, I know I'm the first one that always says around the table, we're beating it to death, but sometimes that is a good thing. As far as going to a committee of the whole, I know personally I probably miss, I don't know, if I venture to guess, 30% of my meetings because of my schedule. Now, if we go to a committee of the whole, where everybody's sitting in on, every committee's going to this structure, for me, I'd probably be missing 60% of my meetings out. So it's not everybody that has a luxury to perhaps come around and attend meetings as often as they are scheduled. So I think it would pose problems then. Maybe not so much as, I guess quorum's only 3, so is it a problem? I just think it would be. Then it comes down to money. There's, I think there's ways that we can save money, aside from saddling a new board, potentially. Could be an entirely new board in October. And saddling them with trying to figure all this out. I guarantee you, between now and October, this won't be figured out by us. So that another burden to a new board. Let them establish themselves with the number, with 7 trustees, and they can figure out, there's nothing saying you can't partway through. If we want to drop the numbers, I'm sure there'd be 2 trustees that would be willing. I'm not sure on that, but so if it's got to wait for the next election, then start working your way to it, not 6, 7 months, 5 months, whatever it is between now and October, trying to figure out, put it in place, have a few years to work it out. I strongly disagree that we should be going to 5, just my opinion.
I was just gonna say that when Ryan first brought the motion forward, an idea, when I first thought about it, I actually was in support of it, in a general, just in consideration, thinking that it was really an act of good faith when we're looking at cutbacks all over the place, and we're, as a board, making decisions regarding other, ways that we can cut back. Really taking a look at all the documents and consideration of how we function as a board. Even taking a look, I've been on the policy committee since I've started over 4 years, and have chaired that for the last couple of years. And we have a monitoring process where we really look at a monitoring report where we look at a schedule that we actually review every policy, every bylaw on an annual basis. And that policy committee, especially that one, because I think that's the one that I've been most invested in, although I've been on other committees as well. We meet regularly, we look at things, we've got the monitoring report. When I think of that committee especially, I think that, saddling that back to the committee of the whole, I think things would get lost. I think that we would constantly be in a position to, as a committee of the whole, look at the priorities, and especially when things maybe are more, when there's more things on the hot plate, you kind of lose track of, you lose sight of the things that you need to plan for. You kind of go more into reaction phase as opposed to kind of a prevention. So I don't know, I think that there'd be some things that maybe might be lost. So, and in consideration, I mean, I think we're considered by our documents an at-large board. And I really like the fact when I look around the table and look at the representation we have from the community, and each one of us was elected for probably different things that we bring to the table. If we lost 2 people, we would lose 2 different perspectives. And I think opportunities, and I look, sometimes people get voted in because of popularity or because they're well known in the community. And when I take a look at even past polling results, like we might have not had like some of the great representation on this board if we only had 5 trustees. So in consideration of that, and just considering that some of the factors, I would think that my position at this time would probably be, and especially because we have a new board going to be elected in, that I would probably be in a position that I'm not in support of that, at least at this time, of us reducing the numbers for those reasons that I gave in consideration.
Should I let you go first, or should I go first?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. I'm kind of 2 minds about it. One is the vast majority of the boards in the province are 9. 7 is the next most common. 5 is relatively rare at this point. They were only able to count as 11 boards, 4 of which looked at it, 2 of which decided they didn't have time to consult adequately, and 2 of which indicated they intend to reduce. In that case, both of them to 5. When I consider, I don't like the idea of using committee of the whole to solve everything. Among other things, I feel that that's not a particularly effective use of everyone's time. Having said that, I also don't know that it's necessary to have 3 trustees on every committee. None of our committees ever decide anything by going to a vote. And if 2 trustees look at something in detail and they can't agree on it, they just don't have a recommendation. I'm completely happy with a committee not having a recommendation if the 2 of them can't agree on something. So I think that's still workable. I don't think it saves much money. It does save some, but if we were going to do it, I don't think that would be my primary reason for doing it. The thing I'm thinking of is our last election, we had a significant number of candidates. All of them seemed quite qualified. This is not the experience of other boards in Manitoba, and is certainly not the experience of the other boards in our region. Some of them have a lot of trouble attracting candidates, and I can see that as being an issue. With regard to the idea of leaving it to the next board, I suspect the only time this is ever considered, and ever would be considered, is by an outgoing board. So if we don't do it, that probably means it's not going to get looked at again for another 3 to 4 years. Perhaps one last point, if we were looking for ways to save money, I tend to agree with the comments made here. There are other ways we could look at, among other things, the trustee indemnity or the expenses associated with that we could save something, probably not on the same level as reducing the number of trustees, however. That doesn't mean it wouldn't be a good idea to look at it. And even if we're making the decision for the next board, if we overshoot the mark, they can always unmake it. But that's got nothing to do with this motion. So, Trustee Lamb?
Can I go first since mine's already? Most of the comments that I'm going to say have already been made. I'm not in support of this motion. We have a diverse group of people from many different, quite a few people at this table are managers and have worked their way up through their organization, so I'd hate to lose that diversity of opinion. We're not the big spenders here. I mean, we have a budget of 42 million with 400 staff. Our little budget for the trustees is quite minimal, and there are lots of other ways that money can be saved. The committees, if we went down to 5, we'd be sitting on all kinds of committees and we'd be here day and night. So most of us are already here quite a bit, so that's not going to work. The committee structure that we have certainly could be changed. committee of the whole is a good way, but it's not the way to resolve everything. Like Liz has said, at our policy committees, we have some pretty heavy-duty debates sometimes on all kinds of issues of interest to the public, and we certainly help and bring things to the table so that every single trustee doesn't have to go through every single thing. Like finance, I trust what they tell me. Like I'm not, finance is not my thing, and I don't need the details, and the finance committee says, hey Janet, this is the way it's going to be. I trust you completely. I'm interested in the policy committee and other ones, that one not so much. I trust my other trustees to bring me up to speed on that one. So we can't be the master of all things, but at 7, I think we're pretty good at 7, and I wouldn't support going down to 5.
Trustee Land?
So just a few closing comments. From my perspective, at the end of the day, I think it's absolutely still about accountability. The next 4 years, as we've heard time and again, will absolutely be the time that we're challenged. I would beg to differ respectfully that $160,000 over 4 years is a material amount of money. In addition to the fact, and the motion says nothing about committee of the whole, but I identified that as one, potential con. Committee of the whole is one solution to that. Once we decide that we move in a direction, we would have ways which, we may not be moving in, evidently. But I do think we have the capacity to make it happen if that's the will of the board. I don't know. I don't think we are as diverse as we think we are. I don't think our board demographically represents the population of Thompson, and I don't think 7 makes that any more probable than 5. And I guess I'm a little bit surprised that this much time has passed and we don't have stronger reasons. Like, we've had really robust debate and passionate opinions expressed on this topic. I don't remember such a debate on department heads or librarians. We maybe haven't yet had it on kindergarten, but it seems like we're moving down that path as well. And then when the lens is turned on us, it seems like our minds were made up before that time passed. And so I thought I would hear more compelling cases for keeping 7 over 5. If today we were 5, I don't think we would dare propose 7 in the current context. So I don't think we'd be entertaining that possibility today. And yet we seem quick to rule out the possibility of 5. Nobody came back and said 6. A lot of school divisions are 6. We just want to stay as we are. I actually think, and again, respectfully disagreeing, I don't think attendance is a luxury when we are elected to be here and represent the voters. I don't think that's a luxurious possibility. I think they expect us to be here. And if what it does is it has voters thinking more about attendance and us having to get out there and engage more with the public to earn a seat at this table, I'm absolutely for that. So it's why I brought it forward. I also think this isn't an and or. I think if we were to go with this, we should also look at reducing indemnity, the overall indemnity. Like, I think there's more work to do. This is some of the work, and I think it really sends a message to people that we're in the game too, that it isn't just about something we do as a board, that we actually are in it, and that we've got some skin in the game, so to speak. So as for saddling the next board, I just think the reality is the next board always carries on with what we've done. I think there's plenty of time to work that out practically. I wouldn't say we've been remarkably efficient over the past number of years with our committee structure. I think it's actually been a little bit dysfunctional in terms of, if you look at the number of scheduled meetings versus the number of meetings that happen, and the amount of actual business that happens through committees. So it's not quite the magical process that we're sort of making it out to be. And 7, to be very candid, is not necessarily a guard any more than 5 or 9 or 11 or 3 is against dysfunction as a board. That's not only on our history as a board, but it's also on other boards as well. It's really policies we have dynamite policies and procedures, and I think we would continue to have those things. And maybe we'd be a little more nimble as a board in actually coming around and gathering around ideas and being innovative. So I still think there's an opportunity there. Don't think that's where we're going to end up.
Call the vote.
I just have a wee comment. There was incredibly robust conversation about librarians, about department heads, about kindergarten, about tech block programming, about French electives. There was a whole lot of conversations about how the next 4 years are going to fit into the provincial budget. So I agree that, I agree that this is kind of a, maybe it's a good idea, maybe not. I'm really kind of like on the fence, like Sandra said. But I disagree with the fact that we haven't had robust conversations about many aspects of finances, because I think we have. That's all I have to say.
Trustee Fitzpatrick?
So, I am on the fence about this. I am not going to be voting in favor of it today. Not because I don't agree that there isn't ways that we could be more fiscally responsible, and perhaps this is one of those ways. I don't feel that we're in a place at this point in time to move in that direction. I agree with what Guido said before, that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to get to that point. Perhaps we do community consultations and we start working towards that and looking at how we can really make some changes to be more fiscally responsible. Maybe this is the way that we determine is the best way, and we leave behind recommendations for the next board to consider moving in those directions to be more fiscally responsible. I just don't think that at this point in time that we're ready to move in that direction. I really feel that it would be a hasty decision and that we're not in a place to really decide that today. That's just, I think there needs to be more consultation done and more consideration. I appreciate though that all of the information was collected and brought forward to us. That was great. I just don't think that us as a board have done enough work really to get to the point of voting in favor of something of that extreme.
Just one small comment then, just in response to Trustee Land's comment about consideration of 6 board members. I thought that might be a healthy compromise too, but I think the literature did speak to the fact that often having an uneven number of board members would actually be a benefit, so you don't end up having those titles.
With no further comment? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion is defeated. I think at this point I'd still like to thank you for bringing it forward, Ryan. I think that I find myself very much in the same position that Trustee Fitzpatrick just said. It might be a good idea. I don't know enough right now to know that it's a good idea for the next board.
Next item is Superintendent of Educational Services and Programming Report.
My report is fairly short and sweet. Just wanted to highlight a couple of things. I did have the opportunity to volunteer in the evenings last week for the Winter Games, and I have a typo there. It says there were 800 athletes and coaches. It should say there were 800 athletes in 2 phases. And coaches along with many, many volunteers. I got to spend a few days down in the kitchen. I think that every single person that was involved in the games came through the kitchen. It was an excellent experience. I just want to say that there were many volunteers who were district people. There were many volunteers who were retired teachers, so I got to catch up with them. And I had a chance to meet some new people, including some of our students that were here tonight. They were there volunteering. I just want to thank all the volunteers for their time. They have made lifelong, lasting memories for our fellow Manitobans. And one of the coaches I spoke to told me that was a very long bus ride, and the farthest north he's ever been is Selkirk.
Wow. Wow. Typical spirit.
Yeah, so it was
Unbelievable.
an excellent opportunity to meet people and talk to people. I was very proud being a Thompsonite over the course of the week. I did attend 2 events during the Winter Games on behalf of the district. One was to present the bronze medals to the winning hockey team, which happened to be a northern team. So that team was coached by Rob Balaka, and there was a number of boys who also played on our Norman Wolves. So that was really exciting. One of the things that Team North was also recognized for was that they received the Larry Dujardin Sportsmanship Award, which I thought was absolutely excellent. So I just want to say congratulations to our northern team, although I know there was a few people from the south within there.
And my friend's son was playing on it, and he's from Verdon.
I was just going to say Verdon was one of the communities.
He
that
was
I
the
saw.
redhead, that's 6'2", didn't miss him.
One of the things that I would like to see, we didn't have a northern archery team, so I really think we need to bring back archery. I think that would be an excellent endeavor for our schools. And just a reminder that March and the beginning of April is mini winter festival time. And the save the date for the UCN Truth, Reconciliation and Road to Wellness conference, I sent you the link. And if you get a chance, please go. I've heard Chief Wilton Littlechild, excellent. He's an excellent speaker. He's a lawyer who has been from day one at the United Nations. And Senator McCallum is also there. And that is my, and I'm going to be attending the trustees convention with our trustees starting Thursday. Yeah, look forward to that.
Moving on to the financial report.
The first item I have is the expenditures for the month of February 2018. The month is now closed. Accounts payable in the amount of $1,794,835.63 were put through. Teacher payroll for $2,087,759.28. And non-teaching payroll support staff for the amount of $657,858.92. This time, the recommendation is the expenditures for February 2018 for the amount of $4,540,453.83 be approved.
Trustee Fitzpatrick? Trustee Olivera? All those in favor? Pass.
Also circulated for your information is the recent financial report as of March 6th, where we show our expenditures coming in on plan, 49% of the overall budget. The expenses year-to-date of March 6th were $21,560,896. The second last item I have is the borrowing bylaw 0118. The document was circulated in your packages on Friday for second reading. The first reading of bylaw 0118 occurred at the February 27th, 2018 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. The second reading is required for debenture bylaw 0118 for the purpose of borrowing the sum of $572,400 by the issue and sale of debentures for the roof replacement at Juniper, Burntwood, and Deerwood schools, and the exterior wall upgrade at Deerwood and Riverside schools. This time I am recommending the debenture bylaw 0118 in the amount of $572,400 be read for the second time.
Mover? Trustee Lecha? Trustee Land? All those in favor?
the third reading of borrowing bylaw 0118. Bylaw 0118 has just received second reading. The first reading of the borrowing bylaw occurred at the February 27th regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Third and final reading is now required for the debenture bylaw 0118 for the purpose of borrowing the sum of $572,400 by the issue and sale of debentures for the roof replacement at Juniper, Burntwood, and Deerwood schools and the exterior wall upgrade at Deerwood and Riverside School. The recommendation I bring forward is that debenture bylaw number 0118 in the amount of $572,400 be read for the third and final time.
Trustee Lychuk? All those in favor? Motion is passed. New business. No, don't take it out. Yeah. New business was an additional agenda item. That is where we put it, did we not? And this is a gift.
Okay, this gift was given to the school district in Mystery Lake prior to the opening ceremonies last Sunday. It's a Jason Lucas painting. It was given to us from Sport Manitoba because, of course, the athletes slept in our schools for the entire week and they got fed at Artie Parker 3 times a day, times 7 days. So to honor us and to thank us, this is a painting that we're going to have to decide where in the building here it's going to go, but hopefully we'll do that later tonight. We just wanted the public to see that Sport Manitoba had expressed their thanks for utilizing our facility during the games, and so they presented us with this painting.
And worth
Does it
also
have a name
mentioning,
on it? I wonder if
it's a Jason Lucas.
yeah, it doesn't have a particular name, but anyway, it's got a nice northern lights and a beautiful landscape, and so we'll figure out what to do with it.
All right.
So perhaps on behalf of the district, we should extend
Thank
our
you.
thanks to Sport Manitoba.
We were pretty impressed with that, quite honestly. Sandra?
I was just saying, it was a gift on behalf of Sport Manitoba and the Thompson Plain People Society.
Oh, yes, sorry. Oh, correct. Yeah, because the whole society was organizing it.
Correspondence, standing item for Manitoba School Board Association. Do you have anything, Trustee Tucker?
Do you want me to talk about Bill C-210, an act to amend the National Anthem Act, or are you talking about that?
You know, I
Or
would be
just the-
pleased to have someone else talk about that.
It's just that we received a letter from MSBA saying that the national anthem has been changed, and it sends a link to, so we all know what the national anthem is
Being changed to.
now. And that there's nothing that the province will do about it because it sounds good. And I'm glad to see it because it takes out the sexist language in all the sums command to something else in all of our command. In all of our command?
Of us, in all of us.
In all of us command.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we put it in.
So that's good. The end.
All right then.
That was easy.
Don't just say you let them out.
I've really got to move on.
Please
Committee
do.
reports. Policy committee.
Policy committee has not had a meeting recently since the last report. And we have one scheduled for the beginning of April that actually I think we're going to try to schedule to have earlier. Trustee Land's away at that time, so we have to schedule. I was looking at Thursday before, but that's Thursday before Good Friday, so we'll have to figure out something that works for our schedule, so we will do that.
Okay.
Education programming committee.
We have not had a meeting, but I would like to put this in the minutes for people to send what dates are good for them to me, and also to send, who was on that committee? You? Any ideas about what you'd like Superintendent Henderson to bring forward in respect to data that's been collected in the in the district, you know, what you'd like to see. And then figure out your best days, send it to me in the next 3 weeks. Does that sound good? 4 weeks?
So is that an invitation to the committee or to the board?
To the committee
Okay.
and to the chairperson, the Honorable Donald McDonald.
Positive that's not how they have to say it.
Oh, okay. But they're to send it to me, not you.
Yeah.
Okay. And Laura as well, if you could send me a date that works for you in the next 4 weeks.
Yours are 3 weeks, I have 4 weeks.
Did I say 4? I said 4 to you guys.
Yeah.
I said 3 to 4.
Be available 3 weeks, if you don't have to be available.
Narrow it down.
Public Relations Committee.
We've not had a meeting since our last time we met, but just a little reminder to the Finance Committee that we do need some more money.
Okay, next.
Try not to be too harsh now, Trustee Fitzpatrick.
She's on both committees.
That's why I threw it up
You know
there.
what I mean?
Let's see how this one goes over.
She has to yell at herself.
Finance and Property Committee.
We had a meeting scheduled for today, but we
Changed it to March 27th. So we meet March 27th at 4:45 p.m. To discuss, possibly discuss finances of PR, but plenty of other things that we have to talk about. So. Kelly has some.
In the trustee budget line, I'm not certain if there's any further consultants between now and the end of June being looked at for retreats or not. If there is, can you send that to some other finance committee, because that could be a consideration for PR.
No.
Okay. Trustee comments. We just had the Winter Games. Let's let Trustee Fitzpatrick start.
We did just have the Winter Games, and I think I slept for like 2 whole days after it was over. But it was lots of fun. Yeah, it was really good. So many good compliments about Thompson, and everybody seemed to have a lot of fun. Like Lori said, it was a really proud time to be a Thompson May, so it was good. And thank you to all the faces I saw there volunteering. It was awesome. Lots of our students were there as well. It was great.
Yeah, I was gonna say what a awesome week it was last week, and I also got to participate in some of the events and do some medal presentation, and Sandra phoned and asked me to MC the medal presentation at the pool, and she did not tell me that there was 150 medals to present.
That's a lot of medals. Wow.
But I was getting the swing of things, right?
Whoa.
Essential details only.
My biggest thing is I didn't want to go too close because I thought, oh, for sure I'm going to fall in the pool doing this. So I actually didn't have to go near the pool, so that was a good thing. But
That's a lot of medals.
it was fun though. And the alpine skiing event, I got to present medals, and I actually made a point that day of going to watch the races, which was quite meaningful because when I presented the medals, I could actually say to the kids that I seen them race, because I did. And that was really awesome. And I got to watch speed skating live on Saturday morning. I got up and made sure I did that. That's curling finals. So I just thought it was a great weekend to the whole society. I thought what an awesome job you guys did, and it's just really happy to be a part of that. And I think it just really raised the profile of our community and of our hospitality. So I think it was a really, really great weekend.
Yeah, great event, well done, Thompson. That's good for me.
I also participated last week in Winter Games, was helping out with cross-country skiing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday morning out at the trails out of town, and helped out with VIP driving, running around Thursday afternoon, driving VIPs around and stuff like that, and helped out Friday night at the Female Athletes Village at Burntwood, and then Saturday at Artie Parker. So I was running around all over the place, and felt very proud of our community, very, very proud. Over 850 volunteers, and people who really stepped up to the plate and
It was very awesome. Just a friendly reminder that science fairs are coming up, so if you have a couple hours to spare, if you want to be a judge at a science fair, they're always desperately looking for judges for science fairs. So those are coming up. I'm going to Westwood and Thornford myself, and so help out if you can.
I spent winter games pretty much in one venue, but the one comment I've got to make is that the other volunteers that helped make everything work for the sport venues were incredible, and very noticeable just how wonderful our custodial maintenance staff were in terms of both keeping the whole place clean enough to be in and also just dealing with every little thing that came up, and many little things will always come up. And although I didn't get to see it, I'm assuming that some teachers put in an incredible amount of work putting together everything that they spent an incredible amount of work taking apart before the games. I was astounded at how fast I heard some of the schools got put back together. But that couldn't have been easy to do. So, just all there.
I, unlike the rest of the trustees I'm sitting up here with, was not able to attend any of the winter games. I had to travel out of town. But with that being said, you did hear a lot of good stories come out of the gathering of athletes and the coaches and parents and everybody else that was up here. So excellent job. Big shout out to Thompson. Big shout out to the committee. We can do it, and we can do it right.
Ditto, same thing. Really proud of the staff, the students and the teachers, just phenomenal amounts of work. The students always amaze me. And speaking of like at the games, but also tonight, I was so impressed. Why can't we do that every sport? Have that, like, that's the fun part, and that's why we're here, right? That kind of stuff is just like, you know, you kind of forget after sets of blah, blah, blah. Not that this is boring, Dawn. You do a very good job. But really, you know, the connection with what's going on is absolutely refreshing. And I also attended some training. I attended training on depression, anxiety, and on mindful leadership. It was really fantastic to hear kind of like from an organizational perspective and things to take. And I look forward to sharing that with trustees at our next strategic planning or whatever it is we're doing. That's all. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maybe.
Cool. Questions from the public about items pertaining to the agenda? Then I'll ask for a motion to move in camera, please. Trustee Brady? Trustee Tucker? Those in favor? In camera and 10 minutes.
It's long for us.